Okay, you are live.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to today's June 9th, the June 9th Complete Count Committee. We'll go through our sort of same cadence that we typically go through. So I want to thank everybody for being here. We do have a few members who are absent, which is fine. We'll walk through everything together. So first, I just want to go over just some follow-ups from our last meeting, which was May 12th. You can do this sort of also as we're doing the subcommittee reports, as well as to do any follow-up discussion that we had from last time. So we'll start with Eric, if that's okay. Last time we talked about the school essay contest, and that the schools were really focused on graduation events, which of course makes sense, but graduation is done and congrats to all of our grads. And Christine had asked if the schools would consider flyers with the box lunches to students, and you were going to check into that. I didn't know if you'd been able to follow up on that, Eric.
Yeah, so I checked into that, and it's something I think we could definitely accomplish. I think the main idea from the last time we spoke was kind of flyers on hand, maybe not flyers with every box lunch that's handed out over the summer, but certainly flyers on hand, and that's something we can definitely get accomplished. So I think at this point, it's just, do we have a half sheet or a full sheet of that information that we really want to get out there, that we can kind of pair with our operations team and our bus drivers as they go around and make these stops for our summer lunch program that's continuing through the summer.
Yeah, and I think, we do have material. So I love that I did. Do you have the material that you need, or do you need some?
I know we have a bunch of different options. So I think it's just a matter of maybe picking the best option. And then I don't know, it's just a look through what our different options are to see what might resonate more with the community that might be picking up our summer lunches, or really anyone in the community, kind of what makes sense to pair with kind of the school's efforts. But that's something we can definitely kind of look into.
All right, super. What can we do to help you with that?
I might look through today or tomorrow and kind of come up with some options and kind of lob my thoughts out there, and we can kind of have a discussion probably through email this afternoon or tomorrow to see what the best options are moving forward.
Okay, super. Thanks. Do you have any other additional updates?
Yeah, the other thing, we talked about it later in the meeting last time, I believe, but it was about a PSA from Dr. Hoadley.
Yes.
And that's something that certainly we can pull off as well. But I would like to try and do that a few weeks from now. Most of us are still working from home, and we're starting to kind of rephase going back into the office at this point. And so I would like to kind of wait until we're down that road a little bit, and then work on that when he and I are both in the office together, likely here in the next couple weeks. So that's something that's certainly still on our radar. So certainly something we can plan on. And so in the interim, I might kind of work up some talking points for him and share them with the group as well, just so we can kind of group think that as well to see what the best messages are to come from Dr. Hoadley in terms of the census.
That'd be great, because I think that the time frame that we're going to have for Dr. Hoadley to get that out there is probably not a real long one, just because as we get closer to August, people are going to be very focused on, are the kids going back to school? Are they going back to school full time? Like, that's going to be where that focus is. So I think probably July is going to be the time frame that we'll want Dr. Hoadley to do that PSA. That makes really good sense.
And I think that's certainly doable on our end as well. So definitely something we can pull together.
All right, super. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Any additional updates?
That is all I have, unless there's any questions or anything like that.
Yeah, Eric, I've got one.
Yep.
Homer. And I know on our agenda, I've got this census flyer distribution on there listed later on, but we're going to make a big assumption here. And that is, when we're handing out the lunches to school kids, and like I said, a big assumption that most of those are probably going to come from families who are renters. Might be a leap, I don't know, but I've got 200 flyers here that are geared toward renters. So if we want to get those into those school lunches, these are the full-size ones. This might be a resource for you. And they just came in the mail here within the last couple of weeks.
That's perfect. And it's something that we might be able to do twofold on, of have a renter's kind of specific flyer and kind of just a general information flyer, to where if they are a renter, they can grab the renter's flyer. If they aren't, they can still grab the general information flyer, and even renters can grab that flyer as well. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all.
And then there's I got 100 of the half pagers, here as well. And then this other one, just for everybody else, is geared toward the Asian community. And really the only thing it says Asian on it is the picture that's on it. The rest of it's all in English. So it's not one that's in any kind of other language. It's just the picture on it depicts an Asian family. So, but anyway, the renters flyers, I think, would probably be a good place to put with those lunches. So,
do you know if that exists electronically somewhere?
I can certainly scan these and send you that, but I've got 200 of these that are all professionally printed. That if I can get them into your hands somehow, and then you can pass them on, that'd be great.
We will work on that. I think our summer lunch program is somewhere in the 600 or 700 lunches a day. So that would be my only concern is, certainly we can start with that 200, but I'm just curious as to how fast we would go through that 200. Yeah. So it's just something to think about throughout this.
I can scan these pages in that way and send it to you. That way you can just reproduce it.
Yeah.
Homer, hi, this is Christine. Homer, is there a section on a website that has print on demand flyers that the schools could go into to decide which one can be tailored best to their audience?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the website for the Census Bureau does have other examples of flyers on it. So yes.
Would you like us to look that up, or is that something you could send out with the notes so that people can have that link to print whatever flyer they can customize?
Yeah, it's on pretty sure it's on the Census website. Pretty easy to find. Anybody can grab that, I would think. But I can go browse through it and send out what I think might be helpful to everybody.
And I'll take a look this afternoon as well. Again, to try and see what suits our needs best.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Homer. So the next update is seniors. Kim is not here. Christine, do you have any updates on seniors that you want to share?
Yes. Tomorrow we begin Box Lunch Wednesdays, which has been overwhelmingly well received and positive for people wanting to get out of the house. Not this week, but next week, we will include census information in their goodie bags with information that we want to get to them. So we will do that for our seniors starting June 17th. So that's what I have for an update.
Great, thank you very much. Any comments or questions for Christine? Okay, super. Did Jill make it on? I don't see her. Okay, so I don't have an update from the faith and community-based, but I know that Christine, you had met with faith-based group, and messaging is continuing there as well. Jill was going to be looking at social media, so I will shoot her an email separately, and hopefully we can get an update from her for our next meeting.
I also, Christina, if I may add, our faith community is beginning to go into in-person services. So for example, Northwest Presbyterian Church, I know, is starting in-person services. So I will send a message to them to remind them to include flyers. And I think the key is to get that link to them for them to decide what they want to print from the census website.
Yeah, I think that makes great sense. Definitely appreciate that. And actually, it would be great if you would copy me on any email.
I'll be glad to.
Because that way, if they do have questions that they'd like to address directly with the group, they can hit that, and then we're both receiving it. It might even be wise to have Homer as one of our staff reps on there as well. That way we know that nothing's gonna fall through the cracks with them, because I think that's really important.
Will
Um,
do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Any questions or comments for Christine on that?
I actually have a question.
Yes.
So Christina, we mentioned last time the possibility of getting the flyer on the lunches that are going to the Hilliard City School kids, the ones up in the Ballantrae area, at our south area that we're not getting a lot of feedback from. Did you have any luck seeing if they were interested in putting flyers on their lunches? Or are
You
they
know,
even
Amy-
extending that lunch program this summer?
Amy, thank you for that reminder. And no, I never got that loop closed. So I will contact Vicki Clark at Hilliard and see if we could get that in her hands to get out to Eric's counterpart in Dublin City, or excuse me, Hilliard Schools. Thank you for that.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't sure if they're even doing the summer lunch program.
They are.
They are.
Okay, but yeah, that would be a good way to get that area of town that we don't have yet.
Okay, I'm on it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow, we've already addressed 2 of our other follow-up items now. We are on it.
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I think it's awesome. Okay, so international, basically there was, we sort of talked about how there is definitely some overlap between our Asian population and our elderly. And so Ben had mentioned that there wasn't a huge effort to address the international population because we didn't want to be redundant. So I didn't know, Ben, if you had any updates or you wanted to talk through anything for today.
No updates on our end. I mean, we're just in a position that we can kind of help support any other initiatives that may overlap with the international community and their needs, but on a committee level, no, we don't have any updates.
All right, super. Appreciate it. So I'm on to my little list of just checking in on things that we talked about last time. We've already talked about the PSA with Dr. Hoadley, and so we'll get updates on that. Amy, very rightly so, brought up the Hilliard City Schools lunch program and distributing their flyers, so thank you for that. We had asked for an update from Jenny on the chamber and that they were doing some job postings in support of the Census Bureau. So just wanted to see, Jenny, if you had any additional information, you just want to give us a quick update.
Sure. We are working with them to share that. So we're sharing it via email now. There's also a banner ad on our website, as well as a click through on the header of our website that links to that. Homer, I'd also like to mention, we have 360 new residence packets going out to the apartment communities in Dublin this week. I would be happy to add those flyers to those because we're making all those deliveries on the end of this week. So that's a way that we could directly reach those apartment communities with those new residents.
That's great. Yeah.
So I'll touch base with you via email after this and see if we can work together on that as well.
Thanks. That's an excellent idea. That was really the last that I had for follow-ups. Just as a couple of reminders that Mark had thrown out to us, Mark Boyd from last time. He kind of gave us our stats. We're now at about, I checked yesterday, so if it's changed since yesterday, I don't have that number, but it's 78.3% complete as of yesterday. Homer's shaking his head. So
Same as today, it didn't change today.
So that's where we are, which is pretty good. I think our goal was to be at 80%. Mark had mentioned that we moved through education and awareness phases and are entering the response phase, and just reminded about the options for responding. Again, he encouraged us to really target and do outreach in the places that have the lowest response rate. And in our case, that's still Southeast Dublin. He encouraged us to use digital communication for things on how to respond should be the focus. And I think that that's exactly what we've been doing, as well as with the flyers. You know, and just to remind folks, because he said that there's some confusion that folks think that they had to respond to the census by April 1, but they really have until October 1. So just reminding folks of that as well, that they haven't missed out on their opportunity. And they were doing, and I don't know, Homer, maybe you know a little bit more about this. He had mentioned doing sort of a safe restart in June. Are they sending census workers out into the communities now?
The last note that I saw from him was that they were going to send people out to the areas that don't normally get mail delivered directly to their houses.
Gotcha.
People that were, in a post office box situation is where they were going to start focusing on. But then he followed up by saying, but we don't really have any of those in Franklin County. So that's the effort from the Census Bureau. But I guess here in the next couple of weeks, they are going to start engaging the communities and start to look at the places where they know people have not responded yet. So that'll be in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So hold on, pull up my agenda here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't get a note from him as to why he saying he wasn't going to be on the call today.
Oh, that's all right. Oh yeah, because we have the June restart here listed. So, and then I know you had on here the new census flyer distribution for folks who are rentals, and then the Asian family image and stuff. Are we missing anything that we have that there's an opportunity for us to be able to communicate a little bit better and get out there? I'd love some additional suggestions from folks.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to talk to Megan O'Callahan, she and I have already been talking already, but I just wanted to touch bases with the group here. The idea of taking one of our mobile, signs that we use for traffic and just put a, remember the 2020 census, some very quick message like that. We got a suggestion from the Logan Union County group, from Brad Bodenmiller the other day, asking if we could put one of those over on our western border, in that area, because they were thought it would help out, that area a little bit more. But, I talked to Dana and said, we're really where we need this at is in the southern part of Dublin, because our western border, for the most part, is okay up in that area around Durham Township. So I'm looking for a suggestion on if we're going to put one of our mobile signs out there someplace, where would be a good location to put that in the southern part of our city.
Near the, I'm so sorry, near the apartment complex there, that is south of, around Rings Road, near Kaltenbach. I think you could do a roving sign. It doesn't have to stay in one location, but definitely south of Shire Rings Road.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes some sense. And so what was Dana's response, Homer?
Yeah, we try normally to limit the use of that sign for actual traffic purposes instead of, general messaging. So that was his only concern about it, but he said he was willing to support it to try and get that southern area. If it would help out a little bit, then great. But yeah, I think, maybe a week in one location and another week in another location, might help us a little bit. Don't know how much impact that one sign will have, but it may help.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Why don't you work, ask Dana to assign somebody to you. Why don't you work with staff to figure out the best location for that? If Dana's willing to let us use it, I think we should, pull out all the stops. I mean, shucks, I'm not sure that any city does a better job at communicating and getting the word out than Dublin does. And I mean, it's going to continue to be a struggle while we're going through this whole pandemic. So yeah, anything we can do to help, I think would be great. So if you want to follow up, that'd be awesome.
All right. And I'll touch bases with Megan and
Cool.
I'll coordinate with her to get it done.
All right, excellent. Yeah, thank you. That pretty much brings us to roundtable. So I'll let anybody hop in that wants to just talk through any concerns, thoughts for how we might do a better job at getting the word out there to some of these difficult areas. Hearing none. All right.
I do, Christina, it's Christine. I do have a call scheduled with our colleagues at Noor Islamic Cultural Center, which fits into the faith-based outreach in general, and I will CC you and Homer in on that as well, but it's either 40 or 60%. I think it's 40% of their congregation live in Dublin. So we'll look for specific targeted flyers to get distributed there. And we'll add this discussion point to our already scheduled agenda.
Great. That sounds great. Thank you very much for that, Christine.
And one final addition is we begin these drive-in movie nights this weekend that are going to be happening in the South End Kaufman Park. I know that we're working out sort of PA announcements that will happen, just rules of engagement before the movies begin. We'll see if we can either announce this, or at minimum, the suggested donation is a donation to the Dublin Food Pantry. So as people walk up to give their donation to the food pantry, perhaps we can give a flyer in exchange. So Homer, I'll work with you to get that supply at the ready at the Friday movie nights.
Yeah, thank you for that. I actually really like that idea. That should be fun. You know, I wonder too, for our 4th of July, we're planning on doing the another version of the sort of the caravan, but like with the float, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the mini parades.
Yeah. And I just wonder if there's an opportunity for us to have some kind of a sign or signage that we could also display there as well. And maybe that's asking too much. I don't know, but just.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will send a note to Trish and I'll copy Homer to see if there is room on a float or some mini display going through neighborhoods. So that's a great idea.
Super. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Any other thoughts or questions as we wrap this sucker up? All right. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, I appreciate everybody's help. We've got a few more months of these before we wrap up. I know it's kind of odd to do everything remotely, but truly appreciate everyone's patience and grace with each other as we get through all of this. And, you know, just keep getting the word out there. If you have any other thoughts or ideas, please feel free to share them with the group, or if you just want to send them to me or to Homer, that would be fine as well. And we'll just keep working on getting the word out there. And I'm sure we can do, as we get into the end of the summer, another little quick push on the website as well. But we can talk about that at our next meeting. Thanks again. I hope everyone stays safe and be healthy, and we'll talk soon. Bye.